The story is unsettling and filled with suspense, involving the mysterious disappearance of a groom shortly after his wedding. The bride, Jordan Graham, harbored secrets that led to a shocking discovery. Let's break it down with more details. Cody Johnson and Jordan Graham seemed like a happy couple, set to embark on a new life together after their wedding. To their friends and family, everything appeared normal in the lead-up to the big day, with no overt signs of discord between the couple. Jordan had portrayed excitement, yet there was an underlying uneasiness that her close friends like bridesmaid Kimberly began to pick up on during the wedding ceremony. On the day of the wedding, Jordan's behavior raised eyebrows. She exhibited strange conduct that alarmed some of the guests, with Kimberly feeling that something was deeply wrong. The most eerie part came when the newlyweds had their first dance to a song that Jordan had personally recorded. The lyrics or tone of the song may have subtly hinted at the tragedy about to unfold, adding a dark undertone to what should have been a joyous celebration. This created an ominous atmosphere at the reception, leaving guests with a sense of foreboding. Just 8 days after they exchanged vows, Cody mysteriously disappeared. What initially began as a missing persons case quickly escalated into something more sinister. As police launched their investigation, Jordan's behavior during the aftermath became suspicious. Her stories about Cody's last known movements were inconsistent, causing investigators to scrutinize her closely. Jordan later received a cryptic message from an unknown sender, which added another layer of intrigue. This message may have been an attempt to mislead the investigation or point fingers elsewhere. However, it also triggered a deeper investigation, as authorities questioned whether Jordan had more knowledge of Cody's whereabouts than she was letting on. Under increasing pressure from law enforcement, Jordan eventually led search teams to Cody's body. The revelation was shocking. Cody's corpse was discovered in a location that only Jordan knew about, raising immediate questions about her involvement. The discovery left friends, family, and law enforcement stunned, not only by the tragic loss of life, but by the betrayal hidden behind the couple's seemingly perfect union. As the police delved deeper into the circumstances surrounding Cody Johnson's death, they began to piece together the disturbing truth. Jordan Graham's inconsistencies in her statements raised red flags from the outset. She initially claimed that Cody had left with friends and simply never returned. But the timeline, her demeanor, and the vague details she provided didn't add up. Investigators pressed Jordan for more information, and under mounting scrutiny, her calm facade began to crack. Friends and family reported that in the days following Cody's disappearance, Jordan displayed strange and erratic behavior. She wasn't acting like a grieving wife, but rather someone trying to cover up a secret. Eventually, under the weight of evidence and pressure, she confessed to leading Cody to his death. Jordan revealed that on the day Cody disappeared, the couple had gone to Glacier National Park, a beautiful but remote area. What seemed like a romantic outing quickly took a deadly turn. According to Jordan, an argument erupted between them, escalating to a point where she pushed Cody off a cliff in a fit of rage. As shocking as this revelation was, it became clear that the crime was not a sudden, impulsive act. Further investigation suggested premeditation. Jordan had been unhappy with the marriage almost immediately, even expressing regret on their wedding day. She confessed to friends that she wasn't ready for marriage and felt trapped. Some even suspected that the cryptic song she had recorded for their wedding dance was a subtle cry for help or a signal of her internal turmoil. Despite Jordan's confession, finding Cody's body proved to be a difficult task. Glacier National Park is vast, with rugged terrain, cliffs, and steep drop-offs, making the search dangerous. It took days before search teams, guided by Jordan, finally located his remains at the base of a steep cliff. Cody's body had fallen nearly 300 feet to his death, the impact causing fatal injuries. The sight of Cody's body was devastating for the searchers, as the reality of the tragedy set in. The young, vibrant man, full of life and love for his new wife, had been callously pushed to his death by the very person who had vowed to love and cherish him. The silence at the scene was heavy, filled with a mixture of sorrow and disbelief. Once Cody's body was discovered, Jordan was immediately arrested and charged with murder. The trial that followed captivated the nation, as more details of her shocking actions and hidden motives emerged. Prosecutors painted a picture of a young woman who had grown cold feet about her marriage and saw Cody's death as a way to escape. During the trial, it became evident that Jordan had never fully wanted the marriage. Witnesses testified to her reluctance, her erratic behavior on the wedding day, and her subsequent coldness after Cody disappeared. The most chilling evidence came from her own admission, her confession to the crime, and her detailed account of how she led Cody to the cliff's edge, knowing full well what was about to happen. Jordan was ultimately convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to serve a lengthy prison term. The verdict brought some closure to Cody's grieving family, but the emotional scars left by his tragic death lingered. For friends, family, and those who followed the case, the story was a chilling reminder of how quickly love can turn to tragedy, and how hidden secrets can unravel the most sacred of bonds. Cody Johnson's murder left a lasting impact on the community. His death wasn't just a personal tragedy for those who knew him, it became a cautionary tale about the dangers of deceit and unchecked emotional turmoil. Many who attended the wedding and witnessed Jordan's strange behavior wondered if they could have seen the warning signs sooner. For Jordan, her once bright future was now replaced by a life behind bars. Her marriage, which had begun with the promise of happiness, ended in a tragic and preventable loss of life. Cody's friends and family continued to mourn the loss of a kind-hearted man who had been taken too soon, reflecting on the heartbreaking reality that his trust in his new bride led him to a fate he could never have anticipated. The case was covered widely in the media, sparking debates about mental health, marriage pressures, and the red flags that are often overlooked in relationships. Cody's story stands as a stark example of how love, when intertwined with fear, insecurity, and hidden motives, can lead to devastating consequences. As the trial unfolded, questions surrounding Jordan Graham's mental state became a central point of discussion. Experts in the field of psychology were called in to assess her motives and emotional condition leading up to the murder. While Jordan didn't have a documented history of violence, it became clear that she struggled with deep-seated emotional conflicts, particularly about her marriage. Her friends revealed that Jordan had voiced her concerns about marrying Cody even before the wedding. She had cold feet but felt unable to back out, afraid of disappointing her family, Cody, and their community. These concerns, which might have been addressed in a healthier way, festered in her mind, leading to anxiety and resentment. Jordan's inability to communicate her doubts likely played a significant role in the tragic outcome. The court-appointed psychologists testified that Jordan exhibited signs of emotional instability and possible personality disorders, though she wasn't diagnosed with any major mental illness that would absolve her of responsibility. Instead, her behavior was seen as a result of internal emotional conflict and a lack of coping mechanisms. The public reaction to Cody's murder and Jordan's trial was intense. The case captured widespread attention, not just for its shocking nature, but because of the eerie juxtaposition of a seemingly perfect wedding and the dark tragedy that followed so soon after. Many people struggled to understand how a bride, just days into her marriage, could commit such a violent act against the man she had promised to love forever. Online forums, news outlets, and social media platforms buzzed with theories and discussions. Some questioned whether Jordan's behavior on her wedding day should have been taken more seriously, while others wondered if societal pressure played a role in pushing her into a marriage she clearly wasn't ready for. There was an outpouring of sympathy for Cody's family, with many expressing their disbelief at how his life had been cut short in such a cruel and senseless way. Jordan's apparent indifference following Cody's death was another aspect that drew significant public interest. Her detachment, the cryptic wedding song, and her decision to lie about Cody's disappearance painted a chilling picture of someone who was either deeply disturbed or shockingly cold-hearted. This fueled media interest, as reporters and the public alike sought to understand the motive behind such a horrifying crime. Cody's family was devastated by his death. In the aftermath of the murder, they worked tirelessly to ensure that Jordan would be held accountable for her actions. During the trial, Cody's mother and father delivered emotional testimony about the loss of their son, describing how their world had been shattered by his death. His mother's tearful recount of their last moments together tugged at the hearts of those in the courtroom, painting a vivid picture of a family mourning the sudden loss of their beloved son. The Johnson family made it their mission to preserve Cody's memory and to spread awareness about the dangers of hidden emotional issues and unresolved relationship conflicts. They hoped that by sharing their story, others would be encouraged to seek help if they ever found themselves in a similar situation where emotional turmoil might lead to dangerous decisions. After her conviction for second-degree murder, Jordan was sentenced to 30 years in prison. The judge noted the premeditated nature of the crime, commenting on the cold calculation involved in leading Cody to his death at the edge of the cliff. The sentence, though severe, reflected the gravity of the betrayal and loss of life. During sentencing, Jordan remained stoic, showing little outward emotion. When given the opportunity to address the court, she offered a brief apology, but her lack of remorse continued to weigh heavily on the minds of those who followed the case. Cody's family, while grateful for the conviction, felt that no sentence could truly bring them justice or undo the tragedy. In the years following the trial, Cody's murder remained a haunting reminder of how quickly love can turn to tragedy when doubts and fears are buried beneath the surface. Jordan Graham's case became a subject of analysis for criminologists and psychologists who examined the intricate dynamics of the case. Was it cold-blooded murder, or was it the act of someone overwhelmed by fear and emotional pressure? Cody's friends and family continued to honor his memory through charitable work and community initiatives. They established the Cody Johnson Foundation, which aimed to provide support for people struggling with emotional and mental health issues in relationships. The foundation's mission was to raise awareness about the importance of communication, mental well-being, and addressing the red flags in relationships before they spiral out of control. Jordan's life, on the other hand, became one of isolation behind bars. With little hope for early release, she would spend the majority of her life paying for the crime she had committed in that brief, horrifying moment on the edge of a cliff. Though she occasionally made headlines with appeals or requests for reduced sentences, the public's opinion remained largely unchanged. Jordan Graham was seen as a symbol of hidden betrayal, of how easily trust can be shattered in an instant. The tragic story of Cody Johnson and Jordan Graham leaves us with several powerful lessons. First, it highlights the importance of communication in relationships, especially when doubts arise. Jordan's reluctance to share her fears and concerns about marriage ultimately led to a horrific decision that could have been avoided with honesty and support. Second, it underscores the importance of recognizing the emotional and psychological signs that may indicate something is deeply wrong in a relationship. Friends, family, and even wedding guests sensed that something was off with Jordan on her wedding day, but those feelings of unease were left unspoken. Finally, Cody's death serves as a poignant reminder that even those we love most can sometimes harbor dark and dangerous thoughts. It challenges us to be vigilant, to listen, and to act when something seems amiss before it's too late. Though nothing can undo the tragedy that unfolded just 8 days after Cody Johnson's wedding, his story continues to resonate, warning others of the dangerous consequences of unresolved fear and hidden emotional turmoil.